Yo, what's good peeps? In this video, we're going to be taking a very quick look at 5 things I like about Taxi Chaos and 5 things I hate about the game. And I definitely will be letting you know at the end whether I personally think it's worth buying or not.
Positives number 1.
Now, I personally think a huge part of the appeal of this game is that it does tug on those nostalgia strings. If you played a lot of Crazy Taxi on the Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation, or the original Xbox, or even the arcade back in the days. Now, I personally loved all of the Crazy Taxi games that was released and even enjoyed the knockoff Simpson Road Rage 2. And this game, whilst not that close to the magical time that I did have playing Crazy Taxi, it still brings me back to those feelings that I did enjoy playing the game back in the early 2000s. The team behind this game, Team 6, clearly played a lot of Crazy Taxi, and this is their love letter to that game, and I can really appreciate that.
Positives number 2.
One of the really cool features about this game is the fact that Taxi Chaos is 100% a pick up and play style of game, and the way the Taxi handles, in my honest opinion, feels really cool. You always feel that you're in full complete control, and in general, I personally found the driving to be very satisfying right from the first time that I played the game.
Positives number 3.
Now, one of the things that Team 6 has most certainly taken from the Crazy Taxi franchise is the over-the-top crazy visuals. It may not have as much soul as the original game, but for an indie title, I do think that it is a game that is pretty easy on the eyes. It does have a somewhat budget feel to it, but I actually see this as a plus as it fits into the early 2000 aesthetics that pops into my mind when I do think about Crazy Taxi.
Positives number 4.
As much as I did love the original Crazy Taxi game, I will say that it was a little bit on the shallow side when it comes to unlockables. But obviously it was an arcade game, so I definitely can forgive it for that. With Taxi Chaos being a game that is only at home, they did try and give us a little bit more reason to keep on playing. You have various things that you can unlock as you play the game, most notably more cabs that you can drive, but there are also hidden things in the city for you to come across as well. It kind of does feel like it will keep you on your toes and give you a little bit more reason to keep on playing if you are enjoying the game.
Positives number 5.
This made-up version of New York City also has a pretty colourful cast of characters. When you pick up a character or zoom past someone, they more often than not will have something witty to say to you. While you may hear the same thing more than once, which definitely can become a little bit annoying, it still will put a smile on your face from time to time.
Take off the shades, dude. This road wasn't on the maps.
Negatives number 1.
I'll be honest, it was very difficult whilst trying to put this video together to not compare it to Crazy Taxi too much, but I will say that Crazy Taxi back in the days on the Sega Dreamcast was able to run at 60 frames per second. I actually fired up the original on the Sega Dreamcast not that long ago, and I was personally very impressed at how fast and smooth the game was. So why in 2021 is a game that is based on the Crazy Taxi running at only 30 frames per second? This makes the game feel a little bit more sluggish than it should be, and I definitely feel that it would have really helped if we did see this game running at a better frame rate.
Negatives number 2.
Now, while Taxi Chaos is a game that is very easy to get into, it is the bugs that will throw you for a loop. This is obviously an indie game, and they clearly did not have the time or resources to fully check everything, and that is very evident throughout your experience playing the game. Now, I've had the arrow go all kinds of nuts on me during my playthrough, and the game has also crashed on me many times, and sometimes the world just goes crazy and you will probably see things such as 2 cars on top of each other. There is just a very low level of polish to this game, and that can hinder the fun.
Negatives number 3.
Now I get that they wanted to add in extra modes to make this more of a complete package than just an arcade mode, but sometimes I did have to question myself as to why do they put the pro mode in there. In this mode you have no map to tell you where to go, so you kind of do have to know the city like the back of your hand. It is a mode that is very frustrating and does not really make you feel any more skilled at the game for playing it. To me, if I'm really honest with you guys, the mode is kind of not really on the fun side of things, and I have only really played it once, and that was just out of curiosity. Personally, I also do feel like the free roam mode is a little bit on the pointless side, so it kind of makes this game feel as if it does lack any decent game modes outside of the arcade mode, which can also throw up its own challenges as well.
Negatives, number 4.
In my honest opinion, the original Crazy Taxi had an absolutely perfect soundtrack for its time. The soundtrack is definitely one of the most nostalgic things about that game for me personally. Now with Taxi Chaos, you have a song that plays the whole time and it kind of does feel like a little bit more mediocre than anything exciting. It feels way too chilled out for a game like this, which you do want a little bit more excitement and a lot more action going on. Obviously, I get the fact that a small studio like this potentially cannot really afford any licensed music, but it still could have done a little bit much more better with some of the song selection in my honest opinion.
Negatives, number 5.
Now, if I'm honest, when I did first fire this game up for the first half an hour, I did have a lot of fun. But with that being said, there isn't really much in this game that will keep you entertained for a long time. If I'm going to be brutally honest with you, if I do want to play a game like this, I'm probably going to be more than likely to fire up the old Dreamcast version and play the original. Taxi Chaos offers no multiplayer modes at all, and the modes that are here kind of do lose their appeal very quickly. With that being said, there's also only just one location on the map for you to explore, and after a while, especially with the repetitive design, it kind of does lose its appeal as well. So for me, they definitely could have thrown in a few more maps just to ensure that the longevity of this game would have lasted a little bit longer than half an hour.
Final verdict.
All in all, I'm not gonna lie, I personally was very disappointed with Taxi Chaos. It's certainly not the worst game that I've played before, but I just think that overall there isn't enough substance to the game. From the lack of game modes, repetitive design throughout the one city, pretty thin replay incentives makes it very difficult for me to recommend this game. I feel as if the £25 that I personally spent on this game has kind of been stolen from my pocket. So with that being said, I will say £25 is probably a little bit too much for this game. It probably should be hovering around the £10 mark if I'm brutally honest. Anyway peeps, that was just a quick dive into my personal experience with Taxi Chaos. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you had the opportunity to play this game, and what do you make of it? Was your expectations not met? Maybe we probably put a little bit too much emphasis on this being the next best Crazy Taxi, which maybe was trying to be its own particular game, but at the same time, I still feel it does fall a little bit below par. As always, if you did enjoy this urban gameplay video, be sure to smash the like button. Do hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel before. And until next video, we definitely say peace out, peeps.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more cool urban gameplay videos.